Robbins here. I'm the junior team tennis coordinator for Northeast Mississippi. I just wanted to go over some rule changes for this coming summer season. Most everybody here has captained before, so I won't spend a whole lot of time explaining all the essence of junior team tennis. I'm just basically going to go over the rule changes for you here today. This chart is something that our folks at the MTA office have drawn up to illustrate the new paths that they have for junior team tennis. So if you want to go for the road to the national championship, that's now more of a tournament-based format. That's the left side of the screen, the NCJTT. That's what that is. And that one's going to be more of an event-based format where you play tournaments to advance to the national championship. The league-based format that we're used to playing is on this side of the screen, the right side of the screen, which is the SJTTL. All right, and so if you're interested in wanting to play the local leagues like we've been playing, that goes to the state tournament in Jackson, and then moves on to Southerns from there. That is this format on the right side of the screen. So that's what I'm going to be explaining today, since that has to do with the local league. We hope that you'll play in both of these and then have your teams kind of do one track and do the other track. And so the dates are something to where they're not going to conflict with each other. So if you want to do both, that is an option for you. But there are some key differences between the two different paths. So if you want the booster club money that our local CTA gives out, which is $20 per player to the booster club of their choice, and also $5 per player goes to the captain of each team. If you want that, then you have to do the SJTTL, which is the local league. So if you want to participate in the other one, the tournament-based format, that's fine, but the booster club's not going to pay out on that. So keep that in mind as you go forward. So let's go over some key changes in the leagues this year. The biggest thing that you'll see that has changed is that mixed doubles is no longer offered in local leagues. And it's not going to be offered when you get to Jackson, and then when you get to Rome, if you go to sectionals after that. If you're playing in the league-based format here, mixed is not offered. If you play in the national championship, the tournament-based format, it is offered. But in the league-based format, it is not. The only ones that are going to be offered are boys singles, boys doubles, and girls doubles. So keep that in mind. What that means is that you need 3 boys and 3 girls to be able to compete. And what that also means is, since there's no rollover court this year because there's no mixed doubles, players are not allowed to play twice in each match. So before, you could have a player play at singles or one of your doubles players and roll over to mixed doubles, and you could do that for each gender. So you could have a boy rolling over and a girl rolling over. Well, you can't do that anymore. And so that's not something that I have changed. That's something that's coming from the top down. And so there are no more rollover courts. The good thing about that is your local matches should really speed up, because you're not going to have to play 4 of your courts and then sit around and wait for your mixed court forever. So that's no longer going to be a thing. You'll be able to play all of them at the same time, pending that you have enough courts at your facility, and knock them all out at the same time. And so that should be good. But there may be some that are disappointed about not having mixed, but like I said, I can't do anything about that. If you and the other captain want to play mixed locally, you can do that if you want to. Just know that it will not be included in the system, and it's not going to count. So you may ask, well, can I still roll over a player like I did and roll one from boys singles to boys doubles if I don't have enough? And the answer is no, at least not on paper. If you play a player twice in the same match, I'm not going to be able to count one of those matches. One of those will have to be put in as a default. So make sure that you have 3 boys and 3 girls for each match. If you are lacking a boy or lacking a girl, you can still play the match, but you'll have to default one of the courts that you don't have enough players for. So that's a big change that's coming up. Some have asked about this. Can a player play on more than one team? While that is allowed locally, it can't be in the same age division or skill level, meaning that if you wanted to have a player play on the 18s team and the 14s team, they can do that locally, but once they go to the state championship, they would have to pick one of those teams to play for. And players cannot play on the same age level with the same skill level. So if, let's say, your team is going to do 2 18 and under intermediate teams, you cannot have the same player play on both teams. Once they play their first match, they are committed to that team. If you sign them up on one team and want to swap them before their first match, that's okay. I can do that. But once they've played their first match, then they're committed to that team for the rest of the season, and the only one they can play would be in a different age division or a different skill level. So if you want to go to the state championship, that's going to be July 29th through 31st, once again in Jackson, Ridgeland, like it always is. Sectionals is September 3rd through the 5th. One thing that has changed here is the way that we're justifying, or the way that we're kind of ranking advanced players. Before, we were doing this model on the left where the player had a 3.5 or higher, then they were considered advanced. Now it's gone back to the way it used to be maybe 3 or 4 years ago, where we're going by rankings. And so if you have a question based on the player's ranking to think whether they are advanced or not, contact me and I can look that up for you. But it's based on national standings, and if they're in the top 1,500, they can't play in the intermediate division. So do check that. If you say you've got a player that plays a lot of tournaments that's ranked pretty high, you'll need to check that, because if you sign up a team and you've got a player that falls into that advanced category, it bumps the whole team up to advanced. So that's something that you want to think about as you're looking at your rosters. The other thing to think about, doesn't affect many of our teams here, but you do need to note that 50% of your team must be from the same local area. What is our local area? Well, for Northeast Mississippi, it goes about as west as Union, Pontotoc, Chickasaw County. That's about as far west as we go. Oxford is its own area, so if you pull a player from Oxford, they're considered out of our area. And then it goes, of course, as far north as the Tennessee line, and then as far west as the Alabama line. But as far south as about Monroe is about as far south as we go, because you get further south, and that's in the Golden Triangle division. So keep that in mind as you're forming your rosters. So this chart is available to you. I did email you this on February 22nd if you're in my captain's email, and so you have this chart if you need it. But the other thing I wanted to show you is the state rules. That chart is just basically a summary of the state rules. And so all the stuff that I've gone over is in this document as well. So you can look at these state rules and see the same things that I've already highlighted here, but you can see a little bit more details. Another thing on eligibility to progression, the players must play 2 separate team matches. One of those can count as a default, but each player must play 2 matches to be able to be eligible for the state championship. And remember, this goes by game count as well, so it's not by court count, because you may be asking, well, how are we going to do this if we're playing an even number of courts? What if one team wins 2? What if another team wins 2? Well, that's not going to matter, because we're going by game count. So make sure that you encourage your players to push forward and try to win each individual game. The other thing you need to note is advancement. This right here is the table that says who can advance and how many teams can advance. And so keep in mind that if you're trying to go to the state championship. Another thing to see here is ball usage. If you're in 18s or 14s, this doesn't really apply to you. But if you're playing 10s and 12s, do note that the 10s intermediate still plays on the blue lines, and they still play with an orange ball. The 10 and under advanced, they play with a full size court with a green dot ball. 12 and under intermediates play on a full court, but they use a green dot ball just like the 10 and under advanced. The 12 and under advanced division will use a yellow ball. Now, locally, if you and the other captain decide that you want to use a different type of ball or different type of court, that's fine with me, but these are the default standards. And so if you can't agree, then go back to the default standards of what is supposed to happen with the ball and the court size. But do note that once you get to Jackson, the state championship, they are going to go by this model. So if you want your 10 and under kids to be playing full green dot and full courts with a green dot ball, then you're going to want to bump them up to advanced. Same thing goes with 12s. If you want your 12s playing with a yellow ball on the full court, you're going to want to bump them up to advanced before you get to Jackson. So keep that in mind. That's most everything that I wanted to cover. Everything else is very similar to what we've been doing before. Do note that if you are new to captaining, your main responsibility is making sure that you have enough players there. If you can't be there at a particular match, you can appoint somebody to be the captain. Just make sure that that other captain knows who you're appointing to do that. And then make sure home teams that you are bringing the balls and that you've got a new can of balls for each court that is going to go on. And so this is the last week for teams to sign up. And so once this week is over, I'm going to be working on the schedule, and I'll get that to you as soon as possible. You can expect matches to start being scheduled on the first week of June. That last week of May, first week of June kind of coincide together. So you can expect matches to be falling then. I'm mainly going to be planning for Sunday afternoons, Thursday evenings, and also Tuesday evenings this year, because what I found was many of our makeup matches that were getting rained out, or if they were having extra matches, coaches were scheduling those on Tuesday. So I included that day in the in the match count as well. So that's when those are going to fall. So I will set the schedule. You won't have to worry about doing that. And the only thing that you will need to do as far as scheduling is if your match gets rained out, or if you don't have enough players to play, or whatever it is, you need to contact the other captain and rearrange a makeup day. I believe your last day for getting matches in this year or this season is going to be Sunday, July the 10th. I believe that's our what we're looking at. But if that changes, I will let you know. State tournament is a little bit later than it usually is, so we might have a little more leeway there, but I'm not making any promises there. So we'll shoot for having them done on July the 10th. So I will get your schedules out to you soon, and you'll be able to get started playing your matches. Please contact me if you have any questions or if you need help with anything. If you need help registering players, I can help you with that. If you need help doing your safe play, which is this first thing here about the how you get your name listed as the captain, I can't list you as the captain on Tennis Link until you've done this safe play video and background check. The system won't let me. And so if you are going to go to state, you're going to have to do this to be listed as the captain. If it's just locals and that's all you're going to do, it's not going to be as big of a push. So anyway, I hope that this helped you. I know that the conference call kind of takes some time, and we weren't going to have very many people that were going to be able to attend anyway, so I thought I would try this format to try to explain some of the differences in the rules this year. And I hope that answers some of your questions. So let me know if you need any help, if you need any extra players. Let's say that you're short, maybe a player for a certain gender or age division. Let me know, and I can sometimes find some rogue players that would like to play but don't have a team to play with. So if you need some of that, let me know, and I will try to help you. So once again, thank you so much for supporting me and supporting junior team tennis here in North Mississippi. I think our program here is helping kids stay engaged in tennis over the summer and with our fall tournament as well. And I hope that it's helpful. I hope that it's enjoyable and that it's fun. And but I want to thank you for captaining, because this could not happen without some dedicated individuals who captain these teams. So whether you're a parent, a pro, a high school coach, or however you are involved, I want to thank you for doing this. You can reach out to me if you have any questions. Thank you. Have a good day.